Can you feel that electric charge buzzing through Detroit? That hungry pulse that's been simmering just beneath the surface of Ford Field? Have the shadows of those countless rebuild years finally begun to lift, replaced by a fire that refuses to be tamed? Could this be the moment when the Lions, battered but unbroken, rewrite their story and roar louder than ever before? Mash that like button and drop your belief in the comments if you're ready for the Lions to flip the script, because what's coming isn't just a rumor or another off-season whisper. It's a seismic jolt that might redefine everything we thought we knew about this team's future. Insiders have been leaking hints, whispers drifting through the Michigan winds, stories bubbling up inside the front office hallways at One Pride Drive. Shockwaves are reportedly about to rock Detroit's locker room, rattling not just the players, but the very foundation of what this franchise has been building for the past few seasons. The air is thick with anticipation. Scouts, analysts, and journalists alike are watching every move with bated breath, wondering if the Lions are on the verge of pulling the trigger on a blockbuster trade that could send ripples through the entire NFC North. It's one of those moments that makes you clutch your gear tighter, lean into the rumors, because if the murmurings hold any truth, then this division and this city will never be the same again. The man at the center of this storm? None other than Jameson Williams, our 2022 first-round dynamo, who's transitioned from a troubled start, marred by injury and suspension, to a bona fide, game-breaking wideout in 2024. Yes, that's right. Jameson Williams, the speedster who shredded defenses with jaw-dropping yards after the catch and became Jerry Goff's deep ball lifeline, finds himself in the eye of the trade speculation hurricane. You see, despite his breakthrough season where he finally eclipsed that impressive 1,000-yard mark and cemented his status as one of the league's most electrifying deep threats, the reality of the ruthless NFL salary cap and roster juggling weighs heavily on Detroit's front office. The Lions just exercised his fifth-year option, but with a contract price inching up toward $20 million a year, the team faces a brutal balancing act. Keeping Jameson could mean straining the cap space needed to retain other rising stars and shore up glaring roster holes, especially on defense, a side of the ball Detroit has desperately tried to strengthen. The paradox here is painful. Do we hold on to a potential game-breaker who could carve open the field with his blazing speed? Or do we flip him now while his value peaks to accumulate critical draft capital and build depth in those areas where we've historically faltered? Detroit already boasts a laundry list of receivers that makes fans giddy. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a rock-solid no-one option. Veterans like Caleb Raymond and Tim Patrick, steady hands in the storm. And young emerging talents like Isaac Tesla and Dominic Lovett, whose off-season sparkle promises a bright future. The room at wide receiver is crowded, yes, but it's the looming cap crunch that tightens the noose around Jameson's Detroit Odyssey. Remember the gut-wrenching playoff near misses that have haunted us for so many seasons? The off-season whispers that fade into shattered hopes once games begin? The sting of heartbreak at every turn, when moments slip through our fingers like sand? And before that, the unfinished symphony of the 57 defense, that once mighty roar which we've been chasing through decades of drought and desperate attempts at revival? This all just added another, darker chapter to our history, but maybe Jameson Williams' fate in Detroit is the key to finally ending that legacy of disappointment. Imagine the scene, a Lions squad firing on all cylinders, the perfect harmony of youthful firepower and savvy veterans, launching a playoff run that feels like a tidal wave, bringing Detroit back to relevance, a force that could ignite the fiercest postseason energy since Barry Sanders' dazzled Kingdom Come. But hold on, what if this move, this seismic trade or contract decision, fractures the locker room's fragile chemistry? What if losing Jameson removes not just talent, but a spark of hope that fans have desperately clung to? Or conversely, what if it lights a firestorm in the team's soul, driving a hunger so fierce that this becomes the most ferocious and united Lions team we've seen in decades? The unanswered questions weigh heavy. Could trading Williams open the door to elite defensive talent, finally giving us the backbone we've lacked? Or will it leave a void that even all the new faces and draft picks can't fill? The ambiguity twists our emotions, excitement tangled with fear, hope shadowed by uncertainty. And just when you think you're ready for answers, the story turns darker and deeper still. Because if the domino falls on Jameson Williams, if this trade or contract drama explodes into reality, it might just unleash the wildest, most unpredictable Lions offseason in history. The kind of offseason that reboots everything we know, tears down old walls, and leaves us breathless with its audacity. Detroit's faithful have seen dreams deferred and hopes dashed too many times. But through every setback, the pride, the hunger, and that undying roar inside us have flickered, waiting for their moment to erupt. This feels like that moment. So brace yourselves. Prepare for that gut-twisting, heart-pounding ride because Detroit's story isn't finished yet. The next chapter? It might just rewrite everything. If your blood's boiling hotter than the forge at the Motor City Metal and your mind's spinning faster than a Ford GT on the straightaway, then blow the roof off the comments below. Tell me what you'd sacrifice. For a shot at glory, what you believe this Lions renaissance truly demands. Picture this. One move, a ripple that becomes a tsunami, shaking the very heart of the NFC North. What if Detroit's bold gambit triggers a cascading upheaval? Green Bay's smug swagger falters, Minnesota's mighty defense wobbles, Chicago's rebuilding charade crumbles under the weight of our unleashed roar? Rival fans might scoff now. But when the Lions strike, Ford Field won't just shake, it'll become a cathedral of hope and triumph, echoing Barry Sanders' ankle-breaking runs, Megatron's monstrous catches, and the electric nights of playoff games that still haunt our dreams. Can you hear it? The pulse of thousands chanting, rising and falling like the final seconds on the clock. Desperation fused with unyielding belief. This isn't just a trade or cap shuffling. It's a spark poised to ignite the tinderbox of decades-long heartbreak. Since that cursed 0-16 season, through the long Caldwell drought, through playoff agony so raw it still stings like a fresh scar, Detroit's endured the slings and arrows of NFL fortune, slapped with skepticism, frozen by almost but not. Quite moments that could have rewritten history, but instead etched more pain into our collective soul. Yet, here we stand, on the brink of something monstrous. Imagine the locker room, the silent warriors, the battle-scarred veterans, and hungry rookies before and after this seismic shift. Will Jameson's exit tear apart the fragile brotherhood forged since the days when Matthew Stafford's cannon found no home for his rocket arm? Or will it galvanize a new creed of Lions, forged in adversity, burning with a fury that the NFL hasn't seen since the dynasty days? Could this ripple stun Detroit's no-days-off spirit, or will it birth a menace more savage, more focused, a team that finally divorces itself from the shadow of history to carve a legacy free from past mistakes? Consider the defense hour. Achilles' heel for far too long, bleeding points like a sieve, dreams dashed by opposing offenses tearing through gaps left wide open. This move might fund a defensive revolution, bringing in relentless pass rushers and shut down corners, finally balancing the scales and allowing Goff and his arsenal to unleash hell without constantly playing catch-up. Or does it gamble everything on a new culture, a rebuilt locker room chemistry that will bond over sacrifices and shared dreams of Detroit's renaissance? Rival teams watch, waiting to pounce on the Lions' vulnerabilities, but Detroit's fans know better. This city, with its blue-collar grit and relentless heart, doesn't just rebuild, it reinvents. It rises from the ashes of the 2008 meltdown, the seasons where promise was eclipsed by injuries and half-measures, the cruel playoff losses that almost burned our souls out. Through all that, the pride has never dimmed. The roar has never fully faded. And now it's on the cusp of exploding, erupting with the force of a pick-six return that flips a game, or that miraculous fourth-down conversion that sends the city into delirium. The stakes have never felt this raw, this vivid, the tension pulsing like a Detroit night waiting to set the skyline ablaze. And when that whistle blows, when the crowd explodes and the turf trembles beneath fists pounding in unison, will we be ready to answer that call, to seize the destiny that's been waiting just out of reach for so long? Detroit, the question hangs heavy in the chilled air. Are we witnessing the last desperate plea of a franchise clinging to hope, or the birth cry of a new NFL powerhouse that will make the world quake beneath our roar? Lock your eyes on that. Horizon, grip your gear like your legacy depends on it, because this storm is coming, and when it hits, it's not just going to be history. It's going to be a goddamn revolution. Are you ready to roar louder than ever before?